TV acting versus film acting. What's the difference? In this video, we're not only going to talk about how to be a TV actor and how to be a film actor in the creative and technical sense, but also the acting business side of things, meaning the differences in the industry as a whole. When you're considering how to get started in acting, whether it's for TV or for film, it's important to know these differences, especially if you're wondering how to get started in acting with no experience at all. My name's Daniel Brea. I'm a producer and a director in Los Angeles, and I help actors and creative individuals, media artists, filmmakers achieve financial and creative independence in this industry by giving them the tools and the knowledge they need to thrive on their own. I'm going to cover the creative and technical differences first, then the business differences of TV versus film acting. So, the first thing is pace. Without going into details of the different kinds of TV shows, sitcoms, procedurals, and all that other stuff that are out there, I just want to focus on the fact that, as a rule of thumb, TV tends to operate at a much faster pace than many film sets. In soap operas, for instance, shooting an entire episode in one day has to be, done on a regular basis because they're releasing an episode every single day. That's not to say that films don't have tight schedules, but TV shows have multiple episodes to shoot for a whole season, and sometimes are shooting year-round, even if it's a weekly show. And a film is only 90 minutes on average, so TV actors generally need to be ready to handle much stricter schedules and very demanding people who enforce those schedules. So Tarantino takes 8 months to film a 3-hour movie. You don't have anywhere near that time for television. And you're going to be regulated by a lot stricter guidelines. Now, there's a little bit of a flip side to it, which means, on a daily basis, generally television actors work fewer hours or more sort of corporate standard hours to a degree. They're structured in a much more corporate way, but film sets can go on for very long days and sort of be a little bit less organized in general oftentimes. Now, again, all of this is sort of generals, right? There are always exceptions, and none of this is 100%. It's just sort of a guideline for you. Now, the other difference is studio versus on location. It's often less common for television shows to film on location, meaning in various real places in the world, because of their tight schedules. They often stay on studio lots and film the majority, if not all, their footage in sound stages. Now, again, depending on the type of show, but when considering how to get started in acting, you'd want to consider that a lead TV actor who works on a show regularly generally doesn't travel as much once they're signed on to a show, where a film actor will have to go wherever the scenes are being shot for that movie. And then for the next movie, it might be somewhere completely different. Now, there are shows that shoot on location, but they often remain in the same city, like Sex and the City, for instance. That was not shot, at least to my knowledge, on studio lots as much as it was shot in the actual city of New York in various places, but it still all took place in the city of New York. Movies like Lord of the Rings, you're going all over the world, okay? The acting business is full of subtleties, and one of the most TV actors can enjoy as opposed to film actors is that if you are lucky enough to work on a TV show regularly, you have many episodes to refine your character. A film is often just a one-off, and you're going to have to make sure that you nail it from the get-go, and your next project will be very different than your last. And in television, you have a lot of rehearsal time with your whole team. So the whole team gets together and they rehearse, and then they go and they shoot the episode. It's go time. Generally in films, it's very rare to see the entire cast together rehearsing. You might have a table read, you might have a Zoom call with everybody sort of going through the script, but it's not the same type of rehearsal generally as you would see in television. Again, largely due to the strict schedule. Another thing is for series regulars, which are sort of the top billed cast of a TV show. TV jobs are much more like corporate jobs. You show up for work, you do your thing, and you go home. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the hours tend to be more regular hours because it's a daily job. Like you show up every day, you clock in. It's kind of more like that. There's more job security. at least for the season, and as long as that show keeps running. And residual checks tend to come in a little bit more regularly or frequently or whatever. You tend to make a little bit more money off of the back end because shows can get syndicated and stay alive for many, many years on many different networks. And films do pay residuals too, to a degree, but they have a lot of different contracts sometimes, and it really does vary. Films are a little bit of a wild card in terms of what you get, depending on whether it's independent film or whatever. And when I say TV, I mean like broadcast television, right? We're not talking about Netflix here. So a TV show will generally generate more actors, more money in the long term, and that can be a good thing to consider as well. And again, it all depends though. So there are many more differences, of course, and please feel free to comment with your knowledge in the comments below if I'm saying something that you disagree with or you have other knowledge. But let's briefly touch on the business side of things also before we wrap this video up, to consider just, if you're wondering to get started, how to get started in acting, be it for film or TV, you should probably know some of this stuff here too. They are different ecosystems. The people and companies who generate TV shows are rarely the same who create movies. So as an actor getting into the acting business, you should know this and understand that just because you know a big film producer, that doesn't necessarily mean that he'll get you a part on or she'll get you a part on a network TV show. The whole process is different. The hiring entities are different. The auditioning process is different now. There are many common bridges too, of course, but that's a story for another video. The roles are structured differently. So when you consider how to be a TV actor versus how to be a film actor, you have to know that the kinds of roles you'll start getting out on television are likely co-star roles, meaning one line, one day, walk-ons on procedural television shows like NCIS or Chicago Med. And then you graduate to guest star roles, which can be a few more lines. And if you're lucky, you might even end up getting a recurring guest star role. So if they like you, they might write you into the future and keep going back. So there's another little note to be said about building relationships in the television world. It can happen. You show up for a guest star or a co-star role. They like you. The network likes, for some reason, that episode gets good ratings. They think it's because of you, the writers, the showrunner. They can start writing you in again, see if that episode performs better again. And you can actually, I have friends who have, or not personal friends, but I have acquaintances who have graduated into series regular positions on major shows because they just rocked the co-star. So it's nice to impress on a television job because that recurring schedule and continuous production, they can bring you back in, and one show can create your career based on you walking on for a quick thing. That doesn't happen in movies. You would have to have that filmmaker require your type, you again, for another project, which might be several years down the line, if at all. In film acting, you really only have a choice of lead and supporting actors, as films usually follow a single lead character through a specific journey. And in television, there's many different, stars of the show. It's usually, oftentimes it's a team, especially on procedurals. And, there might be a lead or something to a degree, but the series regulars are really the core cast that just show up again and again and are on most of the episodes. And in a film, it's really always about a protagonist, right? Sometimes they have a co-lead actor. There might be a female lead and a male lead, but then everybody else is just sort of supporting cast around them. Again, there are many differences between TV and film acting, and the acting business is full of surprises and broken rules. This has not been by any means a complete list, or honestly a 100% accurate one necessarily, because again, there are so many different subtleties. The two systems, TV and film, are infinitely complex, but I hope this gave you at least some direction and things to consider on your journey of becoming a professional TV or film actor. And remember, most actors try to do a little bit of both, especially now with TV the way it's going. It certainly behooves you to get your feet into both buckets as deeply as you can. So if you like this content, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit the little bell icon to get notified when a new video drops. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, please click the link and come explore more videos. We got a ton more on this channel, and I hope it helps you thrive and build your independence as an artist. I'll see you around.